Okay, RTS fans, welcome back to LT Gaming. My name is Tom, and with the Steam RTS Fest in full swing, I think there's no better time to showcase the best RTS games with base building elements that still hold up in 2025. From crafting the perfect fortress to managing resources like a pro, this is where RTS games can truly shine. We put together a list that balances retro classics, remastered gems, and fresh new releases as well, because whether it's nostalgia or innovation you're after, we're going to have you covered. Before we jump in, help us out with the YouTube algorithm, hit that like button, and of course subscribe to LT Gaming if you want more content like this. You need more RTS goodness, you need general gaming content. Tap the bell as well so you never miss a video. Okay, let's jump in. Unleash voxel warfare in 9-bit armies a bit too far. This game lets you lead a modern military, build bases and unlock units for all-out war. Whether you're tackling over 24 missions, battling in online skirmishes or teaming up in co-op, there's always action waiting for you. Land, sea, air, you name it, the game's got it. The base building in this one has gone mega, literally. With the addition of mega structures, new super weapons and a mobile HQ, you can build rapidly, expanding bases and dominate like never before. The maps as well, they're enormous, they're 4 times bigger than in the original, perfect for those epic multiplayer skirmishes. Now, word of warning on this one, it is for quick thinkers out there. If you don't adapt on the fly or learn from your mistakes, the game's gonna absolutely kick you in the teeth. But if you're up to the challenge, it's a total blast. Now, Spellforce 3 is an absolute gem for those of us who love a good mix of RTS and RPG. Imagine commanding massive armies while also leading a band of heroes who level up and get epic gear. The story is pure fantasy goodness, rife with politics, moral dilemmas and all that. The base building here also feels spot on, so whether you're fortifying your position or setting up more resource hubs, it feels like each decision matters. And the best part is that each faction feels like it has its own flair. Dwarves have a heavy industrial vibe, whereas Dark Elves have a sinister touch with their design. The game feels so alive. Between the story, the depth and the multiplayer aspects, there's a lot to like here for strategy fans that scratches both RPG and RTS itches. Empires of the Undergrowth is hands down one of your most unique RTS games that I've played for some time. You're not commanding the armies of humans, aliens or anything like that, you're leading ants, yes ants, as you dig out your anthill, gather resources and wage war against rival colonies and predators. It's surprisingly intense and ridiculously fun. Your anthill is the heart of your colony, and building it properly is half the game. You've got to plan everything, food chambers, nurseries, soldier areas, while making your tunnels stay defensible along the way. And trust me, when a rival colony or spider invasion hits, you see why every choice along the way mattered. This game is the definition of overlooked for me, with ongoing updates and a concept that's unlike anything else out there. It's a breath of fresh air in 2025. Plus, who doesn't want to live out their childhood fascination with ants in such an epic way? Now, Cataclismo brings a dark atmospheric twist to RTS. Set in a crumbling world, you'll lead survivors to build fortresses and defend against relentless hordes of enemies. It's part city builder, part tower defense, and 100% intensity. Every decision in this one feels like it's life or death, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Base building here is all about survival. You're going to construct massive fortresses with walls, towers and traps to hold back waves of terrifying enemies. It's a constant race against time, and trust me, seeing your base stand strongly feels ridiculously satisfying. This one stands out because it's so different. It's very recent as well, and the haunting atmosphere and high stakes make it an unforgettable experience. And it's proof that RTS games don't have to stick to the usual formula to be brilliant. Age of Mythology Retold brings back the legendary RTS that lets you summon gods and wield their powers on the battlefield. You'll lead Greek, Norse and Egyptian forces in a mythological clash of titans, heroes and monsters. It's honestly one of the coolest RTSs out there. The base building in Age of Mythology is as good as you remember. Temples, wonders and mythological unit production add a whole layer of strategy. Plus, choosing your major and minor gods feels that every game feels a little bit different. With updated visuals and timeless gameplay, Retold is a gift both to long-term fans and newcomers alike. It's stepping into the epic mythological painting that you get to control. Majesty flips the RTS formula on its head. Instead of directly commanding your units, you're the king who sets bounties and incentives, letting your heroes decide what to do. It's quirky, unpredictable, and absolutely brilliant if you like a bit of chaos with your strategy. You're going to build marketplaces, temples, guilds to attract and then support your heroes, watching your town thrive or get overrun because your heroes were too busy looting. It is part of the charm with this one. And this game's charm is timeless for me. It's perfect for players who love strategy, but want something less rigid and more creative. It has a unique gameplay loop that hasn't really been replicated, which makes it feel fresh even today, an all-time classic. Godsworn is a newer RTS with a heavy focus on divine powers and tactical battles. You're going to lead a band of followers, build settlements and fight for your god's supremacy in a vibrant, fantastical world. Base building in Godsworn revolves around faith. Your structures and followers feed into your divine abilities, letting you unleash devastating powers during battles. It's really a nice mix of strategy and spectacle. Fresh ideas like this are why the RTS genre is alive in 2025 and starting to recover in my eyes. Godsworn feels like it's pushing the boundaries and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Warzone 2100 is a cult classic that blends RTS with a sprinkle of tower defense. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, it's all about customizing your units and staying one step ahead of your enemies. It's gritty, it's challenging, and it's got some serious retro charm. Building in Warzone 2100 is all about efficiency. You construct factories, research facilities and defences while managing resources and keeping your tech tree moving forward. It's worth in 2025 because the game has been kept alive by an amazing community, with modern patches and enhancements that make it as playable as ever. It's a must play for anyone who loves old school RTS with depth and updated for the modern era. Now, Northgard is a personal favourite of mine. It's a Viking themed RTS where exploration, survival and conquest all go hand in hand. You're going to lead your clan to build settlements, manage resources and survive harsh winters, all while dealing with rival clans and mythical threats. Base building in Northgard is about strategic expansion. Every tile of land has limited space, so you need to carefully decide what to construct, whether it's farms, training camps or marketplaces. And don't forget to upgrade your buildings to keep your clan thriving. Northgard keeps getting better with new DLCs and updates that expand its already rich gameplay. If you're a fan of RTS or you just love North's mythology, the game will feel fresh and challenging and definitely worth a look. Age of Empires 4 takes everything we love about the series and cranks it up to 11. Historical campaigns, diverse civilizations and epic battles are all here, with modern visuals and mechanics to boot. It's a tribute to the classics while a leap forward for the genre. And base building has never been more satisfying. Whether you're creating massive economies or defensive fortresses, every civilization has unique structures and mechanics that keep things fresh and interesting. And this game is RTS royalty. Regular updates, a thriving multiplayer community and a blend of the old all make Age of Empires 4 an absolute must play and one of the best of the series. War for the Overworld is the spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper, and boy does it deliver. You're the bad guy here, building underground layers, torturing heroes and unleashing all sorts of chaos. It's dark, funny and wickedly satisfying. Your dungeon is your base and building it is pure joy. Dig out rooms, set traps and fill your lair with minions. Something ridiculously satisfying about designing the perfect dungeon to thwart those pesky heroes from entering. It's worth it because it feels like Dungeon Keeper never left, but it has modern polish. If you love a good mix of strategy and cheeky humour, this is an absolute blast to play. Tzar, the Burden of the Crown is a hidden gem from the early 2000s that blends traditional RTS gameplay with a touch of RPG magic. You gather resources, train armies, and venture out to save your kingdom in a campaign that is as challenging as it is rewarding. Building your kingdom is the backbone of Tzar, from training troops to researching powerful upgrades. Each structure plays a role in your path to victory. The mix of economy and military management really keeps things going on this one. The classic holds up surprisingly well, especially for fans of old school RTS games. It's proof that sometimes the lesser known titles are the ones worth most revisiting. If you're a fan of Tolkien's world, and let's be honest, who isn't, then the Battle for Middle-earth 2 is a dream come true. Lead the forces of good or evil in epic battles that span the lands of Middle-earth from the Shire to Mordor. The base building here is pure joy for Lord of the Rings fans. Constructing elven barracks, orc pits and dwarven fortresses make you feel like you're shaping Middle-earth itself. Plus the expansion options for each faction add so much replayability. Now, it's a bit of a challenge to get this one going these days and find it, but with fan patches and mods, the game still shines as one of the best adaptations of this world that's ever been made. It's a must play for strategy and Lord of the Rings fans alike. Heroes of Annihilated Empires combines RTS and RPG elements in a high fantasy setting. You lead your armies, you level up your hero, and you wield devastating magic in battles that feel as epic as the name would suggest. Base building is traditional, but with a twist. Your hero's powers and progression can massively influence your strategies. It's a great mix of large-scale army management and personal hero customization. This game totally flies under the radar, but it's a unique mix of mechanics that make it a hidden gem for me, and one that's absolutely worth rediscovering. Homeworld Deserts of Kharak takes the epic space RTS and brings it to the sands of a dying planet. You'll lead the expeditionary force across massive desert maps, battling for survival and uncovering ancient secrets. Instead of static bases, your command carrier is your base. Upgrading it, deploying units and managing resources, all while on the move, creates an incredibly dynamic experience, and something quite unique. This prequel proves that the Homeworld DNA works just as well on land as it did in space. It's a gripping cinematic RTS that's perfect for modern audiences. Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos is nothing short of legendary. With its rich story, unforgettable characters like Arthas and Thrall, and tight RTS gameplay, it set the standard for the genre. And let's not forget, it paved the way for the MOBA revolution, whether you love that or hate it. Base building in Warcraft 3 is all about balancing economy and military strength. Managing your gold and lumber while pumping out units feels as rewarding today as it did back in the early 2000s. The original still holds a special place in the heart of RTS fans, and while Reforged did stumble of course, the original version remains a masterpiece of design and storytelling. Stronghold is back, and it's better than ever with the definitive edition. This medieval castle building classic puts you in charge of managing resources, defending against sieges and creating a thriving settlement. It's strategy with a heavy dose of castle building goodness. And let's face it, the castle building is the star here. Designing impenetrable fortresses, placing boiling oil cauldrons, and building sprawling keeps never gets old for me. And now it looks sharper than ever. Few games have captured the joy of medieval strategy like Stronghold. With the definitive edition, it's a perfect mix of nostalgia and modern enhancements, a must-have for fans of the game and the genre. Command & Conquer Remastered Collection. This is pure nostalgia wrapped in a shiny new package. Whether you're GDI or not, the tight missions and iconic FMV cutscenes hit just as hard today as they did back in the 90s. And let's be honest, Kane is still one of the best villains in gaming history. If you haven't played this yet, you're missing out. Base building in this is as classic as it gets. You build your barracks, you crank out tanks, and you keep that Tiberium flowing. It's simple, it's satisfying, it's been lovingly polished in this remaster. This remaster proves that classics never die. Whether you're new to RTS or a veteran, this belongs in your library. If you've ever wanted to feel like a tactical genius commanding armies on an absolutely massive scale, Supreme Commander Forged Alliance is your game. I mean, we're talking about battles so big you need to zoom out on a map view just to keep track of everything. It's all about strategy at 10,000 feet here. The base building side of it is an absolute dream for players who love to optimize, balancing energy and mass, while upgrading your base for late game experimental units is pure RTS gold. And those experimentals, dropping one into battle feels like unleashing a force of nature. Honestly, this game hasn't aged a day for me. Thanks to fan-made patches and mods, it's smoother and more balanced than ever. The scale, the challenge and the satisfaction is why Forged Alliance is still the king for large-scale warfare in 2025. Rise of Nations is the ultimate blend of RTS and turn-based strategy, spanning centuries of history. You're going to lead your nation to greatness through warfare, diplomacy and cultural dominance. It's like playing Civilization, but with real-time battles. Base building here feels global. You're not just building cities, you're creating entire empires. Managing resources and tech upgrades across the ages is both challenging and incredibly satisfying. It's a classic that still feels innovative. The seamless mix of strategy styles ensure it holds up beautifully in 2025, and whether you're revisiting it or playing it for the first time, you're going to have an absolute blast.